It is our Wednesday course spotlight. I'm Kathy Lawson, Chief Knowledge Officer of the Great Discovery. Always my pleasure to introduce these sessions and get them kicked off. So tonight, as Tim said, you're in for a treat with Dr. Mort Orman. Let me tell you about Dr. Orman. He's got an impressive background. He is a board-certified internal medicine physician and a 40-year anger elimination, stress elimination, and emotions mastery expert. He has written 26 books on how to eliminate anger, other negative emotions, and stress without using drugs, relaxation exercises, or traditional management techniques. Dr. Orman has led more than 100 emotions masteries and stress elimination workshops for doctors, nurses, lawyers, business owners, entrepreneurs, the clergy, and even the FBI. He has also been the official sponsor of National Stress Awareness Month in the US every April since 1992. And tonight, Dr. Orman is going to talk about his course called Quick Emotions Mastery. So Dr. Orman, it is all yours. Take it away.
All right, I'm going to share my screen here, hopefully. Can you see my PowerPoint there?
There it is, yes.
All right, let me get it back up here. Yes, so thanks for having me. Happy to be here with everybody. I'm just going to give you a kind of a 30,000-foot view of this course, a little overview of what it is and what it's for. And if you are an affiliate with the Great Discovery, this might be a course you might want to promote, because a lot of people would probably have interest in learning more about their emotions. So this is how to take control of 6 negative, very common negative moods and emotions: anger, guilt, frustration, fear, worry, and sadness. And this approach is very different than probably what you or other people who take this course have been exposed to before. So the big question is, what if you could make your negative emotions or unwanted negative emotions disappear on command? If you have a negative emotion and it's serving you in some way, then you wouldn't want to get rid of it. But I would say 80% of the time we have negative emotions that it's getting in our way or causing problems or maybe affecting our health or our relationships, and we'd like to get rid of them. So if you could have no more anger outbursts, no more sleepless nights from guilt or worry, or be bothered in a major way from frustration, fear, or sadness, these are the emotions that are covered in this course. So what is the problem? Why when you turn on your television today or you scroll social media, do you see so many people who don't appear to be able to control their emotions, particularly anger, but other emotions as well? Why is that? Why do we struggle? Well, there's a couple reasons. We were never really taught how our emotions work. I know I was never taught, despite all my medical training and even dabbling in psychology, I was never taught the things that are in this course. We believe emotions just happen to us, which is not the case, and I'll show you that in a moment. We rely on coping strategies and dealing with symptoms, reducing symptoms, making ourselves feel better. You can do that by taking a drink of alcohol or some prescription meds or relaxation, meditation, a bunch of different things you can do, but we don't really get at the root causes, which is what this course is designed to help people do. And we just have a mindset that we think that emotions like anger and other stressful emotions are just part of life, and you just have to put up with them. You can't do much about them. You can't really eliminate them. And in one sense, they are prevalent, but if you understand the principles that I share with people in this course, how to identify the internal causes, then you really can do magical things with your emotions that you might not believe are possible. I know I didn't believe they were possible until I did them, and then I couldn't deny it. So what's the truth about emotions? What happened to my cursor? There. Oops. Emotions don't just happen. They have hidden internal causes. There are things that go on in our brains that actually produce our emotions. Our emotions are not being produced by the outside events that are the triggers. And we know that because we can be standing next to a friend and we both witness the same event, and one person, let's say, gets angry and the other person doesn't. So it's not the event, it's what's going on. It's the event triggers something in that one person that got angry in their brain that didn't in the other person. So it's not just the event by itself, it's what's going on in our brain. And these are the hidden internal causes. And when you uncover these causes, you then discover that you have this amazing ability that you've always had to dissolve negative, unwanted emotions anytime you want to. You just didn't know you had the ability because you didn't have all the puzzle pieces to know how to access it. And that's what this course gives you. It gives you the missing puzzle pieces. And that is what Quick Emotions Mastery is designed to do. It's called Quick Emotions Mastery because it's really quick. The full course is only like 3 hours and 40 minutes to go through the whole course. So they say it takes 10,000 hours to master something, but it depends on what you're mastering, and it depends on whether there's a simple system that you can learn how to use. And if that's the case, then you can master your emotions rather quickly. It doesn't take you 10,000 hours. Now, once you learn the system, there is some practicing that you would need to do on your own to get really good at it. But you can learn the system, you can learn the components of it in just a matter of a couple hours. And so what this does is it reveals the invisible internal causes of those 6 emotions. And it teaches you how to make these emotions, when you don't want to have them, disappear whenever you want. And it gives you a system for understanding your emotions and dealing with them that you can use for the rest of your life. I've been using the system for 40 years, and it served me very well. I've been teaching it to people for 40 years. And I don't think it's ever going to go out of style. It works. It's simple. It's easy. And it gives you control over your emotions that most people don't believe that they have. Now, this next slide, if I had to have one slide, if I could only do one slide for this whole talk, to sum up the entire talk, it would be this slide that's coming up. This is what this course is really about. This course literally will give you X-ray vision into the internal causes of these 6 emotions. It will show you how your brain is making you feel these things, exactly what your brain is doing to release the chemicals and the hormones and all the other kind of stuff that makes each of these emotions and distinct from each other. But you will have, at the end of this course, you will have X-ray vision into the internal causes of these 6 emotions, and that knowledge will be with you for the rest of your life. You'll be able to know and easily recall what these internal causes are. They're not complex. They're not difficult to remember. You just have to practice with them until you get them down, or write them down where you can retrieve them. And I show you in the course how to do that. But this is the essence of the whole course. You will walk away with the ability to know every time you get angry or feel guilty or have fear or worry, you'll know exactly where it's coming from. And the same is true for anybody in your life, your kids, your partners, your coworkers, anybody who has any of these emotions, you will know exactly what's going on in their brain. In a generic sense, you don't know specifically what they're thinking, but you will know how they're looking at things in order to get that emotion to occur for them. So what you'll learn from this course is, you'll learn how to hit the cursor, right? You'll get the hidden causes of these emotions, and each emotion, it's the same system for making these emotions disappear. The only difference is each of the emotions has different internal causes. So when you learn the internal causes, you apply the same methodology to make them go away. So who's this for? Well, it's for anybody that struggles with emotions. So if you struggle with anger or guilt or blame in your relationships, or you have a lot of anxiety. And by the way, this course is not for people who have serious, severe mental health problems where they would need a treatment with a mental health professional. This is for people who just want to have more awareness, more enlightenment about where their emotions come from. But if you have any trouble with any of your emotions, this will help you understand where they're coming from. So this is great if you are in a couple relationship, because emotions fly around like crazy there. If you're a parent, you're going to be dealing with your own emotions as a parent as your kids trigger you right and left. And you also will be in a position to, down the road, educate your children about where their emotions come from when the time is right and where you think the opportunity is right, where you can pass some of this knowledge on to your kids and make them more empowered to deal with their own emotions. Plus, the better we are at handling our own emotions, the better role models we are for our kids. So there's lots of benefits. And the other thing is, if you're a coach, say a health coach, a relationship coach, a divorce coach, and you want to have more insight into how to help your clients who are struggling with their emotions and are looking to you for support, this will empower you greatly and make you a more effective coach. And you're free to use this with your clients if you're a coach. Again, simply how it works, you identify the internal causes of your emotions, which most of us have not been taught to recognize. Then you use the simple system that I talked about, and you can get relief from these emotions. You can make emotions disappear very quickly, even before you get to the end of the course. If you start to use this, you can see results. What are the benefits? You get stronger relationships. You sleep better, you have less stress, you have more confidence and inner peace. There's all kinds of benefits, not to mention as a physician, you're reducing your risks of long-term illness. The better you can control your emotions, because emotions will impact our immune system, cause health problems down the road in some people. So that's all important. The structure of the course, it's a video, online video course. It's got 7 modules. Each module has 4 or 5 videos that are 6 to 8 minutes long on average. The first 2 modules gives you some introductory principles and how to understand where I'm coming from in teaching the course and the system, what it's based on. And then the 3rd, 4th, 5th, and 6th modules go into the individual emotions, show you the hidden causes, show you the system for how to dissolve them whenever you want. And then there's a final module which gives you some sort of ninja tips on how to implement everything that you've learned so far. So at the end of these 7 modules, you actually have the knowledge and the system and the awareness of the internal causes that you can use on an ongoing basis. So the course is up and running. It's on The Great Discovery. Its price is $197, and you can jump into it now if you want to. And it is not. To me, it's what I think is like where emotional intelligence should be. That it's not right now. So this is like the leading edge of emotional intelligence from my perspective. This is what emotional intelligence should look like. And final thoughts is you don't have to be a victim of your emotions. A lot of us have been taught that you can't do much about them other than modify the symptoms as best as possible. You can take control. You can experience more peace and confidence and happiness, and you can transform your emotional life if you've got this X-ray vision into what's causing your emotions to occur. So that is basically what I wanted to run through on the course, and maybe in the question, we have time for questions and answers, I can give some more detail.
We definitely have time for questions. So does anybody have any questions? Just go ahead and raise your hand in the reaction button.
Stop the share.
Oh, can we put the link to the course? I can do that, and I'll do that. I gotta go find it. So any questions? If no one does, I'll get the link in a second, but I do have a question, Dr. Orman.
Sure.
So you talk about all of the emotions, and I just want to focus on one in particular. I want to focus on sadness. Because sadness often comes when through grief, when you lose someone.
Absolutely.
So I just want to distinguish. I mean, I understand sadness for a reason. Maybe you don't understand the root cause, but sadness tied to grief, is there, because sometimes you just need that to process. So I'm curious what your thoughts are about that.
Well, I mean, there's and I talk about this in that module on sadness, the sadness and loss. That's where sadness comes from loss. And loss is inevitable. We're all going to have losses in life. You can't avoid that. The question is, how much suffering do you do, and how long do you suffer from the loss? And normally people have loss and they get over it and they move on, and it's not like an anchor that they carry around emotionally, but there are a lot of people that get stuck and the sadness goes on for a long, long time. Now, I'm not talking about depression here. I'm just talking about a non-depressed person who has a big loss and it impacts them for a period of time. Well, their brain is constantly sending them narratives about that loss. And we don't see the narratives. We don't understand how our brain is prolonging it. And also there's behaviors that come in too. So there's 2 sides to the internal causes. There's cognitive perceptual filters, how your brain's telling you to look at the situation and think about it and understand it and make sense of it. And then there's the behaviors that come in, which usually can prolong an emotion much longer than it's supposed to be. I think there's something called the 90-second rule. I don't know if you've heard of that. There was a researcher at Harvard who found out that most emotions, if you look at the physiology of emotions, when you get triggered, the physiology gets stirred up, the hormones come out, the neurotransmitters come out, the blood levels rise, in the body. And then if everything left to itself without any prolonging activity or thoughts or behaviors, the whole thing goes back to normal in like 90 seconds in the system.
Oh.
Okay, so any emotion that lasts more than 90 seconds, something fishy is going on. The brain is extending the emotion by giving you different thoughts and different scenarios that may or may not be true, but it's telling you it's true. So there are internal causes to prolonged sadness, or sadness that lasts longer than it should or that it needs to. And those are the ones that you can, once you know what they are, you can step in and you can do battle with them, and you can negate them, and then you can get over your sadness much quicker if you understand the mechanism that's producing the prolonged form. But yes, loss is the trigger.
Yeah.
Okay, in most cases, yeah, or perceived loss, or sometimes it can be imagined loss, but any kind of loss, big or small, can do that.
All right, thank you. And I see Dr. Yabanka has her hand up. Go ahead.
Hi, thank you so much for that great presentation. So just to test my understanding, it's more for like somebody to say, for example, like situational depression as opposed to clinical depression.
Yeah, this is not meant to replace psychiatric care or mental health counseling, or this is not for people who are deeply depressed or they're so anxious they can't get out of their house, or they have really severe impairments. This is for like an entrepreneur who has their emotions pop up periodically and gets in their way, or couples where emotions, they're normally relatively normal people. They don't have severe psychiatric issues, but their parents, their kids can trigger them. Their spouse can trigger them. I was just talking to somebody.
Provides a skill. It's really providing also a skill around the management.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
It's a whole skill. It's a whole skill set to be able to have an emotion that's bothering you and quickly make it go away whenever you want on demand is a skill.
Okay.
And it requires you understand the mechanism that's producing it in your brain, which is what this course shows you.
Now, is there a free course that helps market the paid course, or is it just a paid course right now?
There's not a specific free course that leads to this, although I do have a couple free courses on the Great Discovery that do tangentially address some of the principles in this course, but it doesn't directly lead to this course.
Okay, thank you.
Uh-huh.
All right, Tim, go ahead.
Hey, Mort, how are you? Great session.
Thank you.
I'm really looking forward to this. My question is there any application here for kids or teens? Anything that they can get out of it, or is it a little, is it something that's, is it something that's going to be easily absorbed and retained by someone that's a little younger?
Yeah, absolutely. I believe this should be taught at least at the middle school level, and certainly at the high school level. And I had a recent experience where I did a podcast with a husband and wife podcast team, and they loved the discussion so much. They asked me. They said, "Can we pay you to come and do a session for our whole family?" They have 6 kids, ranging from 8 to 24. And it was the end of May this year, and they were all home from school at the same time in the house. And it turned out they only lived 3 hours from me in Florida, which I didn't know at the time. So I said, "You don't have to pay me. I'll come up and do it for free." So that following Saturday, I drove up to their place. They had lunch prepared for me, and we spent the whole afternoon with them and the family sitting around. And I was a little concerned about the 8-year-old, whether she would be able to hang in there with us. But she was like a champ. I mean, she got it, no problem. The whole family really was able to dig into these concepts very easy. And we were just talking about anger. We only talked about one emotion that particular day. But Yeah, so if the 8-year-old can get it, that's probably, I don't know. I haven't done it a lot with kids, but it was nice to know that at least an 8-year-old can grasp it and use it. And I'm very anxious to follow this family over time and see the difference it makes for them all to have this awakening to where their anger comes from, and so that anytime anyone in the family gets angry at anybody else in the family for anything, they kind of have a blueprint for understanding where it's all coming from that they didn't have before. But they have the vision that they didn't have before.
Well, love it, Mort, and let's connect up this week. Let's see if we can catch up. It's been a while since we had the chance to. Since last year, we got to hang out there in Orlando. Been a
Yep.
while.
Yep.
All right, my friend. Thank you.
Uh-huh.
Dr. Orman, do you have planned follow-up with this family or?
Oh yeah. Yeah, I'm still in communication with them.
Oh, that's great.
And the father had me come and do a presentation for one of the group that he leads, and
Oh, that's
yeah,
cool.
I'll be in touch with them. Yeah.
Yeah, nice. All right, Andrew, go ahead.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Orman. This is fantastic. Anyone who helps others in the way you are, I think that's just absolutely wonderful. As I've been networking over the last year or so, when I speak to people who are life coaches, often they say, oh, I learned from this person and now I've applied their teaching and I help my clients. And you mentioned something about people being able to apply the topics that are in your course and help
Yes.
others. Do you have any formal structure for that? Are you finding that people are already doing it since you've been doing it for so long? How does it look when someone is so moved by it that they can then maybe bring it to their clients?
Again, this actually is very simple. And one of the problems we have in emotional intelligence today is we've complexified everything so that people can't make sense, get their hands on anything that they can actually do with their emotions. This is very basic, very simple. And you can literally boil it down. For each emotion, you can put the causes on an index card. And you can use it like training wheels on a bike. Anytime you want to know what the internal causes or what your brain's doing to give you that emotion, you just pull out the card and there it is. And it tells you why you have the emotion. Now, getting rid of the emotion requires a little bit more of a process of what to do with that knowledge, but it's simple. Anybody can use it. So, for example, for the anger piece, I just released a book that goes into great detail about the anger piece. And literally, if you're a life coach and you're helping someone who's got a lot of anger issues, you can buy the book yourself and study it and learn the process, and have your client get the book, and you can coach them through it. There's no prohibition. The book is out there in the public space. You can, and people will need a little bit of coaching to dig into what's behind all these filters or the narratives that your brain is giving you. And a good coach can be a great resource for people to work through their anger issues one by one. So the methodology is out there now and anybody can use it. And this course is an extension of that. This has the anger information in it, but it also has the information for the other 5 emotions. So if you're dealing with somebody who's got anxiety that's holding them back, or they have a lot of guilt, or they have a lot of worry, as a coach, you understand the principles in this course. You can take that knowledge and share it with the people you're working with and coach them through it. So I don't have a certification program for it because it's so damn simple. You don't need a lot of training. You just, you will have to rely on some of your life wisdom to coach them through it, but you'll have the framework with very little training required.
Great, thank you so much.
There was a question in the chat about what's the name of the book on the anger.
The name of the book is called Dr. Orman's Life-Changing Anger Cure.
Okay, Joyce, you good?
And the principles in the book are the same principles in the course on the module on anger. It's just that I have the ability to go through it in much more detail and depth in a 270-page book than in 5 8-minute videos.
Exactly right. All right, Rob, go ahead.
Mm-hmm.
Well, my question was answered about the let me lower my hand here, about if there's a lead up course. But what are your my backup question is, what are your other free courses about? Because I'd like to gift people some of your courses, and hopefully they will they will want to take that $197 course. And if you could, and if somebody could put the name of the book in the chat that I can screenshot it, that would be great. Thank you.
Yeah, the courses, I think I have three or four courses on the Great Discovery. One of them is called Story Time, which is a series of 5 or 6 videos where I talk about, again, something our brain does. It gives us these stories, tells us these things are true, and a lot of times they're not. So that's what happens when we have emotions, by the way. Our brains are giving us stories to look at the world through. And it turns out the stories that are driving our emotions oftentimes aren't really true. So it's, as I say, tangentially, it addresses the same issue, but it's a little thing. I don't get into emotions too deeply in that. And then I think I actually have something on anger in there. I think I have a free course on anger, and I also have one on stress. So I have, similarly, I have ideas and principles about stress and how to think about stress that are very divergent from the normal stress experts that are running around today and spouting various theories. So I have a very unique way of thinking about stress and dealing with it, and I put that these are short little free video courses. And there may be another one, maybe a fourth one on there that I can't recall because it was about a year ago that I put them up there. Look, but they're all under my name, so you should be able to find them.
By the way, speaking, and here's a bad joke for you, Tim. If you don't, get rid of all these emotions, eventually there may be a negative consequence where you lose your job or whatever. And in that case, if you don't make dollars, you don't make sense.
True. Well, speaking of the negative consequences, I mean, the reason I got into this 40 years ago is, I had my own anger issues in my 20s and 30s that I couldn't get rid of. I was very frustrated with that. But I started taking care of patients as a doctor. And all doctors can very easily distinguish and do in their practice who the angry people are from the not so angry people. And we get to see what happens over time to all of our patients. And it becomes very obvious very quickly, if you're practicing medicine, that the angry people have a lot more health problems than the not so angry people. Not only that, but they come in, they share their other problems with you. They tell you they just got divorced, or their kids won't talk to them, or they just lost their job, or they had a business partnership that just blew up, or they got addicted to alcohol, or you're seeing this train wreck that's much more prevalent in people who are very angry than the people who are more calm and relaxed and mellow. So, and then you're sitting there as a doctor, a young doctor with your own anger issues. That really drove me to want to figure this out and go into personal development work for a couple of years, because I wasn't getting the answers from the standard places. And I knew I had to do something before I ended up like a lot of my patients were ending, who were much older than me when I took over my practice. But I didn't want to end up there. So that's where this comes from. Is what I discovered as a result of seeing that real life scenario of what anger does to people in their lives, and I didn't want that.
All right, we got time for one more question before we need to switch over to the next session. Go ahead, Joyce. It's all yours.
I just wanted to ask again the name of the book. I got part of it. I didn't get it all, so could we put it in the chat? Somebody else is asking.
What was the name of the book?
It's Dr. Orman's Life-Changing Anger Cure. If you go to Amazon and you just type in Life-Changing Anger Cure, it'll come right up.
Okay, I got it in the chat. All right.
Could I get one more question? I couldn't figure out how to raise my hand.
Oh, go ahead, Dr. Breakthrough.
Okay.
For you, of course.
Hey, well, powerful training. Question without a political statement. It's like we got an angry guy in the White House. Anger seems to be more prevalent than ever before. Is there a reason why you think like I've never seen so many angry people? You know what I mean?
It's interesting. I will tell you something. It's interesting. Well, firstly, anybody who's angry, doesn't matter who it is, it's for the same reasons, the same internal reasons. The external reasons could be vastly different. What triggers you, or it might not be the same thing that triggers me. But if we got triggered by anything, our brain gave us 3 scenarios to look at it through. And it's always the same 3. It's never not those three. That's why I say you get X-ray vision, because you know, and you know now, if anytime you're angry, it doesn't matter what triggered it, it's these three reasons why you're angry, always these three reasons. People got angry 1,000 years ago because they looked at things, their brains told them to look at them these three ways. People are going to get angry 1,000 years from now, it's going to be the same thing, all right? So whoever's in the White House is angry, that's why they're angry. Whoever's not in the White House and is angry about who's in the White House, they have the same three filters as what they're angry about, okay? Not to mention the fact that the real experts on making people angry, which is the media, okay, they know how to make us angry anytime they want because that's their business model. They know how to do it. They feed us the three stories that are in this course that show you how anger gets created by our own brains. They know the process. They just feed us those same three narratives and we get angry. Works like a charm, all right? They know the mechanism, all right? They've been using it for eons to sell newspapers and get clicks and get advertising and all that kind of stuff. They are the pros. They are the experts on making people angry, and they also can make you anxious anytime they want to. They know the formula for anxiety too, the three different narratives. So, and again, all this is in the course. You'll know when you do the course, you'll know exactly how they're manipulating our emotions all the time. And there are other people that are out there manipulating our emotions all the time. And you'll know how you're being manipulated now because these are the narratives that are being fed to you.
Well, Doc, I want to thank you again for taking what you saw as an issue and even your own issue and finding a solution and then making that available. Appreciate that.
Yeah, it wasn't easy to find it, by the way.
Oh,
But it was worth the effort. My wife and I just celebrated our 40th wedding anniversary.
Hey, congratulations.
And I guarantee you that would not have happened had I not discovered this.
Well, thank you so much, Dr. Orman. Great, wonderful, relevant topic. So I think we all appreciate that. So thank you so much. And I think there's enough information in the chat for everybody to find everything that they need to. So we will wrap this session and change over to Dr. Yabanka and Sandy.